What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. My God, is it nice to have a second monitor again. That was the lightweight Cinesplore, just out farting around with the Brother Hobby VY 2004s. I have one extra coming from CiottiFPV. It's his last one. And then I found a place with a bunch more in stock. They're even the 3150s. So if you need the discontinued Brother Hobby VY lightest weight 2004 ever, hit me up and I'll let you know where to get them from in 3150 kV if you are going to build a lightweight Cinesplore, which you should because they're magic. We're going to take a look. So it's Maintenance Monday. Are we dropping frames? YouTube, why? Maintenance Monday. Happy Labor Day, friends. Hope you guys had a great day off. I kind of worked. But you know, that's the life of a creative. You don't adhere to any kind of a normal schedule or day off or anything like that. Yeah, we're gonna do some work on the Glide. This is the Rossi 16mm standoff HD DJI rig. Hopefully we can get that knocked out. I've got the new base plate almost ready to go. I've got the 4 standoffs up front. spaced out properly for the flight controller. I got to get the middle standoffs on for the ESC. The rear setup is here for the Vista. And yeah, we just got to drop the squid in. And, you know, we'll be good to go. This is also a Q&A stream, as we always do on Monday nights. So fill the chat up with any questions that you've got. Speaking of the chat, Danzilla was first, Chopper FPV was next, Kinetic FPV, Brandon's Baked Beans, RC Ritter 661, Frank Nicholas, Kiz Bartlett, Danzilla, Aircon, Drone Pilot, Gem Fan Hobbies in the house. What's up, Mike? How are you? Kiz Bartlett again, A Cable, Ram Donko, Drone Pilot, Aircon, Eva FPV. What is up? Aircon again. Bob Noxious is in the house. Mr. Frodo. I think I got everybody. What's up, friends? If you want to talk directly to me, all I gotta do is type CiottiFPV. It'll light up an orange. It looks like this. And yeah, I'll know that you're talking to me. Otherwise, speak amongst yourselves in chat. You've got, you know, a little bit of privacy. I don't typically read the non-orange comments, so if you guys want to talk shit on me, you can. I might see it, though. So be careful. Don't say anything too mean. Say whatever you want. Do whatever you want. We're gonna take a look at it. If I can get this damn thing to mount, why won't this memory card show up on the? So that was flight footage from the Hero 8 at the intro of the stream there with the lightweight Cinesplore. I also have some footage from the fat ass Cinesplore with the Hero 10. There it goes. So we can take a look at the two of them. Shout out to Brandon's Baked Beans. I finally got a second to put the black box log from the problematic rig, the Fatso Cinesplore, up onto my Discord. Actually, this is my full-time job. I need a little bit of help from all the different people that enjoy this wonderful, hopefully, content rather. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com, click like, do the YouTube stuff, and yeah, we'll keep on doing this all week, every week. One of the things that helps me out the most is joining my Patreon. When you join the Patreon, you will get... So I need to sit over farther this way, huh? Interesting. By joining the Patreon, you'll get access to the Discord channel. Over on the Discord channel in the Cinewhoop section, I dropped the black box log, and Brandon put a bunch of his feedback in there, which is just like brilliant stuff. So a lot of value there. You can take a look at my log and see what Brandon's talking about. And Brandon also put a link to his FPV Exchange store, where you can hire him for $1 a minute, which was a ridiculously good price. So, yeah, there you guys go. Head on over to my Discord and make yourself right at home. There's all kinds of good stuff going on right now. So, yeah, and we're not done. I did one single pass on the tuning, and but I flew it in the dark, so I couldn't really see if it made things any better. What I can say is, so typically with a Cinewhoop, you need a lot of pitch P gain and D gain to offset the fact that you've got a big heavy camera really far forward. So on the pitch axis, you've got weight that's really far forward here, and then I typically will slide my battery back as far as it'll go to try to fix the center of gravity. So what you've done is you've put a whole bunch of weight on this pitch axis. Well, then you look at the roll axis, and there's not much weight spread out. The weight is pretty centralized on the roll axis. Also, the geometry of a Cinewhoop is very squished X, right? The front and rear motors are very close together. The left to right motors are very far apart. So left to right, you don't have much mass to move around. All the mass is centralized on the roll axis, and the motors are farther apart. So you've got a mechanical advantage. The motors being farther apart is going to give you more mechanical torque, right? It's like adding a breaker bar to a lug wrench. And you've also got the mass centralized. So the roll axis, they never have a problem. And you can feel it. Like if you grab a rig like this and you twist it on the roll axis, it's very easy to twist it back and forth. If you now take it on the pitch axis, there's a lot more momentum, right? So yeah, on the pitch axis, the reverse is true. The motors are close together, so there's not much of a torque advantage to power-wise. And then you've also got a bunch of weight spread out on the pitch axis, so both of those things are bad. And typically, to offset that, the pitch P and D gains have to go way the hell up. Well, in 4.3, the PID calculations behind the scene are much more aggressive than the previous versions of Betaflight. It feels like the devs did that so that the stock Betaflight tune isn't so soft anymore. You know, Betaflight has always gotten shit because on a stock tune it doesn't fly really good. Well, I've actually loved it because on a stock tune, any rig can be flown. And then if it's a clean rig, you just turn the gains up a little bit and it flies better than all the other flight firmware. Well, nowadays, the opposite is sort of true. The stock tune is kind of aggressive. The filtering is brilliant, so most rigs will fly, but some rigs you actually have to turn down the stock tune. That is, I'm pretty shocked that Betaflight did that because that is like that's the one thing that people that fly the other firmwares like hold on to for dear life because it's the only possible thing that those flight firmwares do better than Betaflight is that the stock gains are just much higher, which, you know, it's just a monkey pushing a button to make the stock gains higher, right? There's no actual advantage. Everything else about the firmware is worse. Other than like EmuFlight. EmuFlight is pretty goddamn good, mainly because it's a fork of Betaflight. It's just Betaflight with some stuff tweaked around. But yeah, it's kind of shocking that Betaflight has gone in the direction of the other flight firmwares now, where if you have a dirty rig, you have to turn the stock gains down. But I don't know, the filtering is now so good that I think the argument to be had is, well, you know, even like, I don't know, dirty, like full-blown, like nasty, dirty rigs, I think are still going to have a problem. And need the gains turned down. But like a normal rig, it's probably going to be totally fine on the stock Betaflight setup, again, because the filtering is just so goddamn good. But yeah, it's interesting that you know, I'm sure that they didn't do it because of, I don't know, maybe they did it because people are complaining. I don't know, who cares? It doesn't matter. But yeah, there you guys go. If you want to dive into tuning a little bit, you can take a look. Cinewhoops, you know, because they're a weird situation, they've got stupid ducts, weird motors, underpowered motors, right, to keep the weight down. They've got a camera like really far forward. They're like super squish decks. Usually you're using a small battery to, again, try to keep it light. They are a weird tuning situation. Although, when I was having problems with this, it was because I moved the sliders up quite a bit. The first thing that Brandon had me do was basically default out the tune. Not exactly, but the tune is damn near stock, and now all of a sudden it's flying a lot better. And magically, there doesn't seem to be a lot of bounce back. So the reason that I usually push P and D gain on the pitch axis is to make up for what I was talking about, because otherwise you get bounce back. And it's P gain related bounce back. It's not I gain related bounce back. Basically, P gain related bounce back is when there is not enough authority on the pitch axis to control the weight and the lack of torque. But yeah, now that the tune is damn near stock again, the oscillation problems have gone away, of course. Well, not of course, but that's just the first big thing to if you've got hot motors, if you've got oscillations, a lot of times you're over-tuned. The first thing you do is take the P and the D gains down. That's what we did. Go figure. That took care of that problem. Amazingly, though, and I was flying it at darks, in the dark, so I could be wrong, there doesn't seem to be much bounce back. I think on the logs, I only had a second to take a look at them, but I think on the logs you can see some bounce back and some overshoot. I got to take a closer look at them after the stream. But yeah, the stock tune is kind of amazing on this rig, and for most people, the stock tune would probably be completely fine. So it's kind of wild, man. Like the days of needing to tune are pretty much gone. I need to. I keep wanting to go like this. Hold on. How do I move myself over? Well, that'll move me in the wrong direction. I've shifted some things around on the desk here, and yeah, I need to get them set back the way that I want them. This needs to be farther forward. I've also got I've got the 27-inch monitor here now. Nope. Yeah, I just need to sit farther to the right, which feels weird. Strange. So yeah, there you guys go. Let's dive into chat and see what you guys are talking about. Let me bring Discord over here. I'm gonna leave the Discord up. Did I copy that over? All right, I've got the Cinesplore files off the camera. It's nothing super exciting. I was just whopping around the front yard to try to get the tunes dialed in. But I get asked to show that kind of stuff, so I will. Well, the other option, if I don't want to move if I want to sit here, I just need to move this to the other side. So that would put it down here. That's where it used to be. Oops. So if we do this, we're going back to the way it was. Let's see how it is. Scooch this over and grab this. All right, let's try that for a minute. Hey, what do you guys think of this? You guys get to make this decision. Ready? I need to see how it shows up on the, I need to see if the damn thing shows up on the, as much as I feel weird about covering up this beautiful red chunk of wall that Patrick and Ken painted, something needs to go here. I think it's going to be this. You guys remember that? This used to be my living room. What's that look like? How much of that shows up? Not the whole thing. Can you guys see that it says CiottiFPV on it? Probably not, right? You're probably losing the V and maybe the P. How's that look there? You guys like that? I'll watch the stream back to see what that looks like. Man, do I not want to put holes in that in this chunk of wall. It's like perfectly flat, perfectly painted. Patrick is a goddamn wizard with a paintbrush. I got most of the lights turned on around here, though. Oh, wait, we got this one, too. Let's see what this does. Oh! Oh. Oh! Oh. Oh! A Cable says, hello, CiottiFPV. Drone Pilot says, hey, Ciotti, long time. Been doing a lot of roof inspections, making some money with drones, mapping properties, etc. Haven't flown FPV in ages. As long as you're flying, it's okay. See, now I gotta move over. Maybe not. Maybe this is about right. Let's try it right here. Flying the photography drones is fun. I've flown the Mavic 2 or 3 times now, and I've had a blast every time. It's just a whole different thing, and I love the challenge of making the video. What I find funny about the Mavic and any photography drones is it's hard to make the video that you're shooting interesting without a really good location. So that's the challenge. The challenge is to try to make it watchable. With FPV, it's kind of the opposite challenge, where everything we do is insane and there's tons of energy to it. And for me, at least, the challenge is kind of backing it off a little bit and making it a little bit less energetic and more cinematic and more sort of chill, so you can like actually, so that not only pilots can watch it. That's sort of always been like a thing that I've tried to do with my flying, is fly in a way that not only pilots can watch it, like anybody can watch it and enjoy it. And you know, a lot of FPV flying, I'm looking at you, stick bang people. Normal people, non-FPV pilots are just like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? And that's me too. Like, I can't watch that stuff. Like the really thrashy flying, I'm not interested in it. Like, yeah, I just like it damn near hurts my eyes. I'm like, yo, this is just chaos. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, I get it. It's fun in the moment when you're flying that, but it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just hammering the sticks around. There's typically not a lot of like refinement to it. So yeah, I don't know. That's just me though. If you love it, that's awesome. I love that for you. But eventually it'll probably get old. Like, most people that have been around for a while tend to get burned out on that kind of stuff because it's just mayhem the whole time. Bob Noxious says, what's up, Collective and CiottiFPV? Kinetic FPV says, the middle of the bottom plate holds the arms on my quads, gets burning hot. Any idea? Yes. Kinetic FPV says, the middle of the bottom plate gets burning hot. Any idea? So that strikes me as I can't believe you're not having other problems, but that strikes me as you've got a problem with the electronics grounding themselves to the actual carbon fiber frame. Carbon fiber is conductive, so my hunch is you've got your ESC, could be the flight controller, but I bet you it's the ESC. I'm guessing you have it hard mounted in some way. I'm guessing that you don't have rubber grommets between the ESC and the screws that mount it to the carbon fiber. So, and I'm also guessing that your ESC is one of these old school or cheaper ones where they pass VBAT and ground through their mounting holes, which is a terrible idea, and ESCs should never ever ever be designed like that. But for some reason, I guess it saves money to do it that way. Usually that'll cause other problems, so I'm kind of shocked that you're not saying like, hey, my rig flies like shit and the bottom plate gets burning hot. But yeah, so you need to get, the easiest fix is to get rubber grommets on those mount holes for the ESC, and that'll isolate it from those metal mounting screws that then go down into the conductive carbon fiber. So yeah, that would be the easiest fix, but I'm making a lot of guesses. So yeah, give me a little bit more info and we'll figure it out. GemFan Hobby quoting OnlyFans that doesn't exist. YouTube just did the thing. Brandon's Baked Bean says, regarding what you said about the default being so good already, we run into the issue where nobody likes to move the sliders to the left. I have to convince people to even try. And see, that's why I'm shocked that Betaflight took such an aggressive default tune, right? Like, one of the things, like, people that didn't know anything would be the ones that would bitch and moan. Oh God, Betaflight flies so awful. Oh my God, KISS is so much better. Flight 1's so much better. And it's like, as soon as those people learned a little something, they would realize that Betaflight does that on purpose. Betaflight is, orders of magnitude more popular than these other, silly little firmwares. So the Betaflight devs are like, well, let's make the stock default setup so that anything can get up in the air. And then if it's a more high performance built rig, you can just turn the gains up. Super simple, right? Like, I don't understand why people have such a hard time pushing, making a number higher. Now we're in the opposite scenario. And a lot of what's funny is people that like tons of people move away from KISS and Flight 1. One of the complaints that I hear a lot from those people is like, yeah, I had to turn all the defaults way the hell down on a rig that gets crashed. Like, sure, a brand new pristine rig, fresh everything, the defaults would work, but then as soon as I started to beat the hell out of it, it was either continuously replace everything all the time or move the gains down. And so now Betaflight's in that situation where it's like, although I don't think it's nearly as bad, again, because the filtering is just so much better on Betaflight than any of these closed source firmwares. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's we've gone the other way, and it feels weird. Brandon's Big Bean says we can work the bounce back down with the iTerm Relax RP _ ink mode. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I just really quickly. What is happening? What is in there? Is there a weasel in there? Yeah, so apparently there are different, in the CLI, there are different iTerm Relax modes, which is kind of wild. One of the other things that I was asking Brandon that he mentioned is that feed forward will actually help bounce back. So and now that I've kind of thought through that, I think it makes a little bit more sense, because so like my thinking on feed forward was that so your sticks are centered, everything is totally cool. You jam your sticks in a direction, feed forward kicks in to get the quad to catch up with where your sticks are, right? I didn't think about the fact that if the rig overshoots, the feed forward will push it back. I just thought about the fact that that we change set point and then feed forward tries to catch up with set point. We've now kept the set point the same, and with overshoot and bounce back, it rotates past the set point. So of course, feed forward is then going to push it back onto the set point. I didn't think about that second push. I was only thinking about the initial change in set point. So that's super cool. I would actually rather, so I run my feed forward very, very, very low because it softens the beginning of the motion. But what it sounds like I'm running into is that I don't have enough feed forward to prevent that bounce back. It's super interesting that there's a different iTerm Relax mode that might help that, but I would rather not change something in the CLI if I can change a feed forward slider. And I'm now adding a bunch of that stick smoothing. Basically, the reason I was running feed forward low is for additional stick smoothing. Well, we've now got jitter reduction and a bunch of stuff in the receiver tab that can accomplish that same thing. And I've been using those already in addition to feed forward, so it's super smooth. I think I can kick my feed forward up into the hundreds, 150s, which hopefully will help the bounce back. And I've still got a bunch of stick smoothing added in the receiver tab and in jitter reduction. Jitter reduction is now being used instead of feed forward transition, or D-term transition, as it used to be called. So yeah, some really cool tuning shit going on the Patreon. Join my fucking, on the Discord. Join my Patreon for 10 whole cents a day, and you can get in on the conversation and learn to tune, or just watch, the gangliest of ganglies struggle through tuning stuff, which, maybe you'll enjoy. PJ says, hope you're having a gangly evening. You're goddamn right I am. It's the only kind of evenings I can possibly manage. Brandon Zick Bean says, my dad first saw my cinematic drone video and he messaged me, is something wrong with your drone? It doesn't seem to be able to fly straight. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. Rob Timko with a $49.99 super chat. Jesus Christ, happy Labor Day indeed. Thank you, brother. The Timkos and I are going to have a little tuning session to get his 75mm Cinewhoops up and running. Well, not up and running. They are up and running, but we want to get them locked in a little bit. And I'm looking forward to that. Thank you guys so much. Super cool. Big and little Timko. Shout out to little Timko, better pilot than most folks in FPV. Drone Pilot says, yeah, cinematic for selling properties and mapping and inspections. Otherwise, it's boring as shit. Drives me nuts, to be honest. I mean, it's better than typing things into a computer, right? It's better than a desk job, I hope, in theory. Kinetic says, could be the motors, the ESC is soft mounted, or could be my Avatar VTX. Okay, so if it's your motors, the problem would be that your motor screws are too long and they're touching the winding. So that's something easy. Grab a little flashlight and your 5X loop and take a really close look at your motor screws to make sure that they're not touching the windings. I would be pretty shocked though, because that would mean that the entire arm is hot. So I kind of doubt that, to be honest. if you've got an Avatar VTX, I wouldn't be surprised if that fucker's getting really hot. Carbon fiber is a conductor of heat. So if you've got that Avatar VTX like sitting down on your base plate, it wouldn't surprise me if it's... So I actually do that on on both of my Cinesplores. I actually use the carbon fiber as a heat sink. I've got heat... they sell this tape that's like heat transfer tape. So I've got my Vistas, I've got the heat transfer tape in between the Vista and the base plate, and it does a really good job taking the heat out of the Vista and putting it into the base plate here on my Cinesplores. So yeah, it gets like burning hot down here, but I want that. I want it to take that heat out of the Vista and spread it out so the most airflow can, so it can bleed it off in the most airflow possible. The X plate, though, for you, I'm kind of surprised because the sandwich plate is down, like the base plate, certainly. It wouldn't surprise me if that gets really hot. But then that heat would have to go down through the screws into the base plate, or into the sandwich plate, the X plate, I think is what you mentioned is getting really hot. So I'm pretty shocked by that. I wonder if the Avatar VTX is grounded. Do you have the Avatar VTX mounted in a way that it might be... it fucking better not be. They better not be passing voltage and ground through their mounting holes, but maybe? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Avatar VTX gets crazy hot, though, because there's all kinds of shit going on, and it's only a single layer. So, yeah, the Avatar VTX probably does get really, really, really hot. So in theory, it could be passing the heat down through the screws into that sandwich plate. It's tough to troubleshoot that from here, but that's interesting. Kevin Sumner says, what did I just show up to? Did you get a worm stuck in your hair? Yeah, I think there's a worm in there. I think there's a small animal in there. And it's not a small animal that's allowing me to understand other languages. I'll be pretty impressed if somebody can figure out what movie that's from. No, I won't. Somebody will be able to figure that out. Brandon's Big Bean says, not quite. Feed forward can help with overshoot if iTerm winds up during loose tracking. But you have iTerm Relax that will help there too. YouTube just did the thing. Where the hell did it go? It will help there too, but I still think you should use RP_Inc. It's not in the CLI. Oh, no shit. Okay. Not in the CLI. Oh, roll pitch. Oh. Isn't that the default? Isn't roll pitch the default, or is it roll pitch yaw? Roll pitch Inc. What's the Inc? Let's take a look real quick. Let's just plug it in with a little janky right angle adapter thing. And let's see what we got here. Come on, Betaflight. Okay. So we're going to go into PID tuning. And we're going to take a look at the iTerm Relax. So there's roll pitch. Oh, Inc is increment. Interesting. So we're talking about doing... Let's see what the tooltip says. It doesn't talk about increment. So previously, I think the difference was one of these functions off of the gyro and the other one functions off of... Nope. That's this. That's this right here. Increment. Interesting. I don't know what increment only versus non-increment is. But I'm going to switch this over and we'll save it and maybe it'll help. So roll pitch increment only, it's functioning off of the set point, which is a little bit quicker. If it functions off of the gyro, technically it's going to be a little bit more accurate because the gyro readings are what the rig is actually doing, but having it function off of gyro is going to be a little bit slower. So usually set point is a better option. And a cutoff of 5 is very low, but like I said before, I was doing that to make absolutely sure that the iTerm was not the reason that I was getting bounce back. And And yeah, everything else here is pretty standard. Although I do have the dynamic idle value very low to take advantage of as much braking as possible. With Cinewhoops, when you try to drop altitude, it's a really challenging aerodynamic situation, right? Like, I mean, the whole time a Cinewhoop is flying, it's a shit show of aerodynamics. So when you try to drop elevation, it's putting thrust out. So it's dropping down while it's putting thrust out, and then that thrust is like getting all hung up here, it's getting all back here, it's getting all in here. It's just making a big column of disgusting air down below it. So the rig will want to move all around in the disgusting air, but the PID loop won't let that happen. Well, the PID loop can fix that situation in one of two ways. It can break the motors down, or it can spin the motors up. The lower you put your digital idle, the more it will break the motors down. If you put it too low, it'll fall out of the sky because it will desync. So 25 is pretty fucking low. They say not to go below 30. So 25 is as low as I'm like really comfortable going. And that just maximizes the braking. The rig still does wind up. Did you notice it towards the end of that, the second black box file I sent you, Brandon? I dropped elevation at 0 throttle, and it just, and I had to fly it forward a bunch. What does that look like in the logs? Does that look weird? Can you tell when I go all the way down to 0 throttle and it just keeps doing its thing? Is there any way to work with that in the log? I don't think so, right? Like moving the digital idle down as low as possible is really the only way to fix that. If you pull the PIDs down, it'll fix it, but then you're not gonna have enough authority to keep the rig from wobbling. I guess that's where we can kind of chase the dragon and drop the PIDs lower and wait until the PIDs get so low that it doesn't have enough PID gain to keep it from wobbling all around. I would actually, I mean, that's, now you're getting to the limit of, and then what can potentially happen there is if you go out and then fly on a windy day, you won't have enough PID gain to keep it from wobbling in the wind. So I would actually rather have more PID gain and just deal with it winding up on the way down, so that I don't have to adjust PIDs on a windy day and then forget to adjust them back and all that sort of bullshit. But yeah, so there you guys go. There's a whole bunch of knowledge on tuning Cinewhoops that you didn't ask for. Thanks again, Rob Timko, for the incredibly generous super chat. Very, very, very cool of you, my man. PJ says, is it normal for the... Oh, no, we got that. No. PJ says, is it normal for the bottom of your drone to be warm to the touch after a pack, though? Not burning hot, but noticeably warmer than takeoff. I don't know. I mean, so I run, on a lot of my freestyle rigs, I run like a Chinese LED down here, which gets really hot. So like, I've not noticed it. I don't touch the bottom plate because I've burned myself on the Chinese LEDs before. But I've not noticed that. I have not noticed. I mean, it would make some sense though, right? Because we're mounting things to the base plate with metal screws, and the electronics do kind of get hot. So it would make sense. I've not noticed it though, but that doesn't mean much. B-Man says, what's up? Kinetic FPV says, the problem there is that the VTX is in the back and the middle is what gets hot. It's also under the arms. Yeah, I'm that sounds weird, man. That's a very strange issue that you've got going on there. Is it like burning hot? Is it like stupid, crazy burn? Here's the real question. Is the rig totally fine otherwise? Is the battery life fine? Is everything else about the rig fine, but there's only this one problem? Or is the damn thing a hot mess? Veritas Weasel says, Star Trek, poor Chekhov, Wrath of Khan. That is not what that quote was from, if that's what unless you were just randomly saying that. the quote was from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, you're talking about like, yeah, right. In Star Trek, I guess they had an electronic thing they would put in their ears. No, in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they put a little animal in their ear that allows them to understand all the languages of the universe. Brandon Zwickien says for roll pitch, ink is for incrementing. It only locks it from incrementing. I do not know what that means. It only locks it from incrementing. If you don't mind, Brandon, explain that as if you're explaining it to a 4-year-old. Veritas Uza says, I mean, Wrath of Khan, who would have ever known that Ricardo Montalban would be such an ass? Brandon Zwickien says, read here. He's got a link to the thing. That's perfect. Copy link address. I will check that out after the stream. Known drawbacks. All right, cool. Good call, brother. Thank you. Kevin Sumner says, Babelfish. Nope, not from that. Kinetic FPV says, yeah, that's the only problem. I can touch it for maybe half a second. Jesus. Very weird. Very, very, very weird. What's the closest thing to where it's getting hot? Yeah, what is the closest thing? And what makes the... Yeah, what's the closest thing to where it's getting hot? Oh! Kevin Sumner says Babelfish is the name of the animal from Hitchhiker's Guide. I've only seen Hitchhiker's Guide a couple of times, in my defense. Kinetic says closest would be ESC. Is the ESC getting really hot? That's going to be the next question. You got to just basically trace. The heat's got to be coming from somewhere. So yeah, you got to. So how I would troubleshoot it is to look at where it's getting hot and just figure, okay, what's connected to that? 4 screws here. All right, what's connected to those screws? The ESC. Okay, is the ESC getting really hot? Touch the ESC. And then if that's not it, just keep, you know what I mean? Keep going outwards from where the heat is. Veritas User says, in Wrath of Khan, they put fat worms with pincers snapping into their ears. The worms wrap around a portion of their brain, puts them under Khan's control, and they order them to kill Kirk. Man, it's apparently been a long time since I saw Wrath of Khan, because I completely forgot that. 661 says, motor screws could be too long. We were talking about that a little bit ago. That's going to make the ends of the arms really hot. Technically speaking, yes, the heat could travel down the arms to that sandwich plate, but you would notice that the arms are super hot, and I don't think Kinetic said that the arms were super hot either. So yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I would work from the heat, right? Work outwards from the heat to try to figure out where the hell it's coming from, because it's got to be coming from somewhere. All right, cool. So we're caught up on chat. Burns McBean says, you have an issue where the drone is so heavy on the front with the short wheelbase that iTerm has no option but to wind up all the time. And for the record, the whole Cinewhoop winding up thing is like super common. Like this is this is the thing that all people that fly Cinewhoops often bitch about, is that it's just hard to drop elevation. The industry has helped this problem by just removing basically deleting the ducts, right? The slam squirts, and now all these pusher rigs with like pretty much no propeller protection. Yeah, that's going to fix the problem because it's way more aerodynamic. But yeah, it's interesting. Brennan also says, iTerm Relax will lock iTerm even if it's wound up unless you choose increment mode to let it relax fully to 0 if needed. It's not common to need this, but it's here for this use case. Very cool. I can't wait to try it out tomorrow. I haven't made any changes. I will put it back up in the air tomorrow, log it again, and yeah, we'll see if it's a little bit better. On the Discord channel, you can join it yourself by heading over to CiottiFPV.com. 661 says, yeah, true. Sounds like the ESC is shorting the bolts, or it's getting really hot. Send it till she blows. We talked about that as well. 661. It is isolated from those bolts. So yeah. All right, cool. What are we doing? let's compare the fat rig. This isn't going to be a super fair comparison because the fat rig had the gains like way too high, but the flight footage is probably fine, to be honest. So here is the lightweight Cinesplore, and wait, no, let's not. Let's do this. Running in a. I'm not going to give you guys a ton of audio because it's just. It's actually not too bad. Oh wait, no. I'm gonna leave the mic on, so we're good. So yeah, here's the lightweight Cinesplore. And the tune is like pretty much at the limit on this rig. Which you can kind of see there with it kind of jiggling around a little bit. So I will back the tune off on this a little bit. Now that I see how well the fat rig dealt with bounce back on pretty much a stock tune, I'm realizing that. So like this rig, I've got like the pitch gains up at like 1.4, which used to be great in 4.2. I would actually push it even farther. I'd push it up to like 1.5, 1.6. But yeah, now I'm realizing I don't need it to be that angry, so I can back it off a little bit. So there it is at full throttle. That's actually one of the things I wanted to take a quick look at. So this is the lightweight rig at full throttle. That's a half decent amount of power. I don't really think... So the worry is that I don't have enough power, but for a Cinewhoop, I don't really think that it needs more power than that. That's like a good... So the game for me with these Cinewhoops is put a motor on that has the minimum amount of power, because that's going to be the lightest weight motor. And I think that's about right, man. This is me trying to justify like moving the lightweight Cinewhoop over to 2104s for more power and more kV. But I just don't think it needs it. I think I would rather have the lighter setup. And the less power... the better the throttle resolution too. Yes, you can just skirt that by using throttle limiting, but if you're using motor limiting rather, but if you're using motor limiting, you're carrying around motors that are too heavy. So the whole point here is to try to have the lowest power, lightest weight motor possible. I mean, that's always the goal for me, but unless you're running like a 4S motor on 6S, then motor limiting is kind of necessary. This is me trying to blow that shit out of the corner of the roof. So I just did that over and over again for a while. But yeah, now that I'm watching this, there is a little bit of it does feel like it's a little overtuned, which is not surprising. It's I've got an unbelievable amount of PID gains on the pitch axis, and it's on 4.3 stable, so yeah. You can see it there, it's just wobbling around a little bit. But it's not bad, and to be honest, that would all come out in real steady. Man, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's just the right amount of power there. So there you go. That's the lightweight Cinesplore. Now let's take a look at the also overtuned Fatterson with a Hero 10. Blah, 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 blah. Moisturize your face, homie. So here we go. This is also in, I think this is in 5K. Well, hold on. Did I put this on? So here's one of the other ways. If you don't want to do black box stuff, you can actually get a pretty good idea of what's going on by filming in like 60 or 120 frames a second. How do I playback? Where is... Alright, open Apple bracket. Okay, so you can go like this, and then you can slow down. Yeah, look at me. So I filmed it in at least 60. Let's go all the way down. Did I film it in 120? I did. I filmed it in 120. So at 120, you can see the bounce back. So let me show you. Ready? So this is 1/4 speed. And so this is when it was overtuned, so there really is not much, if any, bounce back. there's a little bit of wobble, but there's not really bounce back. There's just like a little bit of like all over the place wobble. Look at that. I mean, there is just the tiniest little bit of soft overshoot, but I mean, that's not going to be noticeable at regular speed. So yeah, if you're completely against black box, high frame rate is a way to do some tuning. In terms of like bounce, if you're trying to get bounce back out, this tune, yeah, I mean that is an amount of bounce back that like at regular speed you're never gonna notice. But these motors were getting hot. This was over tuned, so now I could go back and do this again. I didn't because it was so dark out tonight that I knew the GoPro wouldn't be able to hack it. But yeah, there you go. As an example, now that we're at regular speed, you're not going to be able to see any bounce back. I mean, you see me flying like an idiot, right? But, see, I mean, it really lands. I mean, you do see that kind of all over the place bobble, but you're not seeing a specific pitch-related overshoot on the front or back flips or roll-related overshoot on the roll left, roll right. So there's a little full throttle blast with the 2104s. Hopefully I do another one here. This is also on the T-Motor tri-blades. I did that because these 2104s are 35,000 kV, which is probably a bit much for the 5 blades. And I'm just kind of playing around with some things. So it looks really good, but the runtime was shit and the motors were really hot. And the runtime was shit is because it's overtuned and it's trying to speed up and slow the motors down over and over and over again. Because it's overtuned, because it's a little bit overtuned. And now this is me clearing the roof off again. I wish I'd done... I thought I did another full throttle blast. Let's see. Although the battery's getting a little low now. This runtime isn't terrible. Yeah, I know, 2 minutes. Yeah, it is terrible. The stutteriness is the computer just not being able to handle 120 frames a second, 4K. Which I believe is what I filmed this at. But as you can see, I mean, it still flies great, right? Like, even overtuned, it flies great. The computer is really struggling. Hold on. Give it a second to buffer, maybe. Maybe that'll make it a little better. Nah, it's just struggling. It's undestruggable. So yeah, there you go. There is one more Hero 10 file. Let's take a super quick look at it. And then we can move on. Do some building. Hopefully the chat will have filled up with some questions. So like as you can see, the tune is in a really good place, especially for a Cinewhoop. Most Cinewhoops will never fly this good. The Cinesplore frame is nice and lightweight. I've got a really good combination. The 4S 850 batteries are nice and lightweight. I have a good combination of prop to motors and KV and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, this thing is in a good place. It's totally fine, other than the runtime problem. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's about the same. It's got about the same power to weight in terms of how quickly it can gain elevation as the lightweight rig, and it will maybe pick up a little bit of power here with the tune chilling out, because at full throttle it's probably doing a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of like, oh my god, what the hell's happening. The other reason I wasn't like sitting on the throttle with this rig is because I knew that it was I knew that it had a little bit of oscillation going, and that's a good way to really get the motors way too hot or the ESC way too hot and blow something up. All right, Brandon's. Okay, we got that. Eva FPV is in the house. CiottiFPV, Brandon's Big Beans. I'll try those changes on my squirts too tomorrow. Yeah, it sounds a lot like that might be a good change for all Cinewhoops, right? Like what Brandon's talking about is an issue that all Cinewhoops kind of have. Well, now I'm not sitting far enough to the side. Now I feel like I have to sit too far over here. What? Hold on. Which direction makes it better? That makes it better. Okay. So let's do that. Bring you over here like this. Wait. Oh! Oh, we've lost the... Oh, the battery just went dead. Okay. I think the camera's a little bit more zoomed in than it once was. Nope, wrong way. There we go. Get back a little bit more. Just like that. Okay. There we go. Is that better? Nope, that's worse. There we go. That's better. That's where I want it. Oh, man, am I a weird human being? Brandon's Baked Bean says, if you want less wobble, reduce the drift wobble iTerm slider a click and compare. If you want less wobble. Although that was when it was, it's so over to, wouldn't you think pulling the pitch P and D gains down would be a better approach to that? And you know what? I need to do that right now because I will absolutely forget to do that. Yeah. Where is the little 90-degree adapter? There it is. So let's hop right back into... how the fuck did this turn into Cinewhoop Monday? All of these apply to... I mean, not one-to-one. But, you know, if you're having some of these problems on a freestyle rig, this will all still help. I mean, Cinewhoops are a little bit different because they're just a much more... They're just a much shittier kind of platform, basically. Oh, I have a log from the lightweight rig too, but let's just get the party started. I guess I didn't have them turned up that high. I just had them up at 1.2. Let me do this though. I mean, let's just pull the master multiplier down to 0.8. And because I still do like the idea of having more P and D gain on the pitch axis, because the pitch axis does have a lot of extra work to do. But then let's also put it to roll pitch increment only. So hey, Brandon, would you say that with all Cinewhoops, the increment only would be a better choice than the regular roll pitch? And I'm going to leave the cutoff at 10 here because this rig did not have the issues. Dynamic idle is down at 25, and all right. And I'm gonna go up on the feed forward and just start using more feed forward. I'm using a pretty aggressive jitter reduction setting of 15. That's like a lot. So that's adding significant stick smoothing. And then in the receiver tab, the feed forward cutoff, feed forward and set point cutoff frequency of 12 is also pretty aggressive. It talks about it here in the tooltips. Your other option is to set these to auto, and then the number will be much bigger. Well, usually it'll be like up in the hundreds, but yeah. We got it set to manual here. So, yeah. Oh, I didn't save it. Master multiply. I'm actually going to go all the way down to 0.75. And, yeah. That should be interesting. And I guess I'll pull the drift wobble down a little bit, too. But the deal is if you pull this drift wobble down too far, then you could go the other. So the tooltip does a brilliant job of kind of explaining it. But yeah, with lower eye gains, eye gains tough to, it's tough to tune. It's also tough to kind of explain. Eye gain is basically how by changing the value of the eye gain, what you're changing is how quickly the eye gain builds up. So by lowering it, it's gonna, well, so Brandon, wouldn't I actually want more eye gain? Because one of the more noticeable, for me at least, one of the noticeable things that more eye gain does is that the end of a flip and a roll, with a higher eye gain, it builds up quicker and it handles that, like, Gappet used to call it, like, it looked drunk. Like, after a flip or roll, it looked a little bit drunk. It was, like, a little bit wobbly. And I'm getting some of that. Like, we saw that when we went down to quarter speed. But then when you turn the eye gain up too high, when you're just tracking in a straight line, it can cause it to kind of wobble around. So aren't I going to be, by lowering the eye gain to fix that wobble when it's just tracking straight, aren't I going to make that situation worse when we hit set point and the eye term needs to build back up? So by that rationale, wouldn't be dumping the master multiplier down be a better way to fight against the fact that it's wobbling when it's tracking straight? What do you think? I gotta figure this out. What happened is the camera, with this big ass monitor, the camera had to move this way on the desk, and so now that's got me sitting weirdly. I could sit over here. I'd rather sit here though. But then, so in order to do that, yeah, the camera needs to move. I'm kind of squashed in on the. I might change the way this whole desk is kind of set up. I might take the workbench and actually move it over to here. Not sure though. Still figuring this thing out. Veritas Weasel says, are your neighbors pretty cool about flying around the neighborhood? Do you have an HOA? I'm wondering what's going to happen when I do it. I've never had a problem. I've flown around my my apartment parking lots for years and years and years, and I've never had a problem. I've met a bunch of the neighbors and talked to them about the drones, and they don't care. I don't fly a lot. I fly like maybe 2 or 3 batteries a week. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something that gets people in trouble, is they expect to be able to go fly 10 or 15 batteries a day every day. And like, if I had a neighbor that flew FPV and they were out there making a ruckus like that often, I'd probably be a little bit pissed off too. So yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not spying on them, right? Like, that's the other thing that freaks people out. So my guess is I do it so infrequently that they don't really care, and I'm not like dive bombing their houses and shit like that with rigs that are loud, at least. So yeah, but it's something that I am kind of keeping an eye on, and you know, hopefully it won't get out of control. But what I really do need to do is just start going door to door and just introduce myself to the neighbors and be like, hey, this is what I do for work. Couple of times a week, I'm gonna make a little bit of a noise out in the street. You know, if you're on like some kind of an important phone call, it's all good. Here's my phone number. Let me know and I'll bring it in. Otherwise, you know, sit on and rotate, bro. Eva FPV says, how heavy are the 4S850s? They are 100 grams. Brandon's Big Beans is right on the money. Brandon says, right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think that was in reference to... I forget what that was in reference to. Brandon Beans also says, trust the data. I gave you 3 things to do in the Discord. All right, cool. So I'll check the Discord for the other 2 things. And then Brandon says, try this pitch tracking 1.0, pitch damping. So that's what the defaulting out the pitch tracking and pitch damping is what we did on the fat rig. Dynamic damping 0, same thing on the fat rig. Raise the top damping slider. So yeah, that's the same suggestion that Brandon had for the Fat Boy rig. So cool. So that's already done. The second log that I posted, Brandon, was doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's good to go. I think Brandon might be saying to do that on this rig as well, but I didn't read it in time. So I'm gonna leave this rig the way that it is and see if it gets any better, and then if it's not better, I'll basically set it up exactly the same as this. Kiz Bartlett says, finally got my BT 2. Wait, hold on. Jesse Garcia with a $10 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, one of my 5-inch rigs loses one channel of the ESC after even mild crashes. All good after I power cycle, but super paranoid of crashing in an unrecoverable spot. ESC shitting the bed or anything I can try. That's the ESC shitting the bed, Jesse. Anything that happens after physical impact is a physical problem, right? Like think of it this way, right? There is not any amount of physical impact that can cause the ones and the zeros to like escape, right, and change the tune. So like if the rig was ever flying like properly and not doing that, then we know that the ones and zeros. Sunny Ray, don't say that on this channel ever again. ever, ever, ever. I'm gonna delete that comment, and you've been warned. That is completely unacceptable. Yeah. I mean, technically speaking, I mean, you could maybe like cripple the PID tune. But I even doubt that would. I doubt that would even help it. The problem is that the ESC is failing. I refuse to recommend to people to like, and I actually don't think that would help you now that I really think about it. But when people have like rigs that they've crashed a bunch that are flying away, I have a really hard time suggesting that they drop the PIDs down because that's going to make the tune worse unless they're overtuned. If they're overtuned, sure, pull the PIDs down. But if they're not overtuned, I have a really hard time suggesting that people like cripple the tune just so that the rig will fly rather than replacing the things that have been beaten to death that are causing issues. So, yeah. But in your case, like, yeah, the ESC is that ESC is dying. Get an Acon or a T-motor ESC, the expensive T-motors, and you won't have to worry about ESCs blowing up maybe ever again. I've had one hell of a time killing an Acon ESC. I finally did after like 3 years on like the rig that gets the most abuse. But yeah, I mean, I'm an overachiever when it comes to abusing quads. EVFPV says, I just equate it to mowing the lawn. Drones are a little quieter but more obnoxious, but if you don't do it all day, every day, no one cares. Yeah, that's a perfect... I hate the sound of other people mowing the lawn, but I'm not going to go bitch and moan until someone mows their lawn all day, every day, and then I'm going to be like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? Stop mowing your lawn all day, every day. That's insane. So yeah, that's a perfect analog. Brandon Spipine says, oh, okay, I was confused. That makes more sense now. What? You have too many drones. Okay. You thought I had the fat rig plugged in a minute ago. Yep, nope. We good. I only brought the lightweight rig up because we watched some of the footage from the lightweight rig, and I noticed a little bit of wibbly wobblies. Kevin Sumner says, Jesse Garcia, could it be the ESC flight controller wiring harness with a bad lead? That could absolutely be it. If you haven't checked that yet, yes, for sure, you need to check the. You're probably using the plug header, So check where the wire goes into the plug header. Maybe it's backed out just enough where it's losing connection. Here's the problem though, you power cycling it wouldn't change that. So if every single time after a crash you have to power cycle it to get that channel back, that's not the issue. But if you've ever had a crash and you didn't have to power cycle it or something like that, then that's where that lead might be. But yeah, when I read what you said, I just took it at face value of absolutely every single time after a crash. And that just doesn't make sense, right? Like that doesn't make sense for like a physical problem. Not to mention that unplugging the battery and replugging the battery in is not going to change that plug losing connection by just a little bit. Unless on the crash, it jiggles that plug enough where it drops that channel. And then when you unplug it and you plug it back in, yeah, so you got to check that. You got to check the wiring harnesses. I would think that the ESC losing connection and then regaining connection, I would assume that it would be like, oh, cool, we got the channel back, but maybe not. Maybe losing that connection on that channel, the ESC is like, nah, I'm out, bro. Something weird, really weird happened that I'm just like, or maybe it's a safety feature, right, or something like that. So yeah, definitely check your wiring harness. Really good call, Kevin. Thanks again for the super chat, Jesse. Very cool of you, my friend. He says, thanks for the insight. I'll check the plugs. Good idea. It's a pretty new T-Motor 55 amp, but I've been crashing hard. Well, you got the right ESC. I think if it's a T-Motor Pacer 55 amp, it's not made by Acon. The expensive T-Motor ESCs appear to be. I'm pretty sure that they're made by Acon. But I guess maybe I have not personally battered the shit out of a T-Motor ESC yet, mainly because my fucking Acons just won't die. Maybe when Acon makes them for T-Motor says, hey, we don't want to pay full price. Can you make them cheaper? And Acon says, sure. So maybe the T-Motor ESCs are a little cheaper. That would make sense because T-Motor has to make some money. And so they've got their markup in there. So yeah, Acon is the choice that, yeah, I mean, they've like so many people have just beaten them to death and they just will not die. There's something magical about Acon ESCs. I think what it is that Acon is a company that doesn't spend any money on marketing. They charge a fair amount of money for the ESCs. And yeah, they just focus on making a really good quality ESC. That's what kind of freaks me out about Hobbywing, right? Hobbywing spends a shitload of money on marketing. And then they sell their ESC for the same amount of money as Acon. Money's got to come from somewhere, right? And also because I've had a ton of Hobbywing ESCs blow up on me. So yeah, maybe replace that T-Motor 55 amp with an Acon. Do an Acon. The Acon 30x30 55 amp though. There's a review on YouTube where that ESC did not do very well. So I don't recommend the Acon 55 amp. I run the 35 amps in all my freestyle rigs. They are very hard to find though. You might not be able to find one of them. What you will be able to find are the Acon 20x20 ESCs. And I've heard from a lot of people that crash really hard that those are bulletproof as well. So you should be able to go, you should be good to go there. Let's see what we can get done on this glide. I'm going to move the chat on over to the right so I can see you guys talking. Awesome questions, as always, from everybody. I got a bunch of packages. Hey. Hold on. Let me cover some other shit, though. The M3 stick ends are going back out to Zach Lothamer. Let me make sure that it's the M3s. Yep, the M3 kit is going back out. If you want to try one of every M3 stick end, now is your chance. Please, do it now. You're going to go to the Discord. You got to be a patron. one of the Patreon only Discord channels. You can join my Patreon for 10 whole cents a day. It's worth it, I swear to God. And then that'll connect you with my Discord. You'll get all the channels on Discord. One of the channels is called Dickens. You go in there, it explains it. Basically, you're going to PayPal me $3 or more to cover the shipping, and I'm going to put you on the list. So please, if anybody wants to try the M3 stick ends, right now I'm only sending it to one person, which is kind of silly. I like to try to load this up with a bunch of different labels so it goes to one person, to the next person, to the next person, then back to me. So yeah, now's your chance to try every single M3 stick end that exists. It's everybody that's gotten this kit has been blown away by how amazing it is to be able to actually try all of the stick ends. So it's something that a lot of people have really fallen in love with. And yeah, doesn't do me any good just sitting here. So please, if you want to get this M3 kit, it is going out hopefully tomorrow. I will print the labels out tonight and get it on over to you. If I don't get anybody by tonight, it's just going to Zach. And you guys are going to have to wait. Not the end of the world, but, you know. Jesse Garcia is on board. He says, I'm sending you a PayPal for the M3 Dickens now. Awesome, Jesse. Do me a favor. Jump into that Patreon Discord channel, rather, and post the info that I'm asking you to post in there, so I can put you on the list, and I'll grab your address from there, and we'll do the things. Also, who wants this shirt literally off my back? Where are my skinny motherfuckers at? If you wear medium t-shirts, I want you to buy some of my t-shirts. I'll sell them to you super cheap. You can buy this shirt literally off my back. This is going to be one of the ones that's available. There's also a Ethics Fat Pigeon shirt. These are all medium. There's a Johnny FPV Heavy Lifter shirt. There is a Fly 533 shirt, which is really cool looking, with Evan Turner's logo. There's this red, white, and blue Rotor Riot shirt, all medium. There is this FPV Crate shirt. There is this Ethics shirt, just simple black and white. There is this old school Lumineer shirt with the little robot hummingbird. It's like a navy blue. And then there is this FPV Cycle shirt with all these little propellers, and it's a gray shirt. So if you wear medium shirts, buy some of these. I'll sell them to you stupidly cheap, like a couple bucks per. Let me know which ones you want, and it'll basically just be shipping. I just want them to get worn. I've got way too many t-shirts, and I used to have an absolutely gigantic closet at the apartment. I have a sane-sized closet now, and the amount of t-shirts I have is just absolutely absurd. So, yeah, if you or anybody that you fly with is a skinny bastard like me wearing a medium t-shirt, let me know, and I'll get you a bunch. Also, if you fly FPV Cycle glides or Cinesplores, I've got a 20-degree blue Hero 8 mount that I'll send you for pretty much nothing. I'm selling these. This is the Beta FPV. I don't know what the hell it's called, but if you have one of these rigs, you'll know, you'll recognize it. I've got two of the AIOs. I think it's the Cetus. Is this the new Cetus Pro? I think this is the new Cetus Pro. I've got two perfectly good AIOs and one perfectly good frame with the camera in it, and the bottom piece. This could be yours for basically the cost of shipping. Like, I don't know, $5, $10, whatever. I've also got a bunch of these 2S, tiny little 2S batteries, which maybe I'll keep. Now that I know that the Happy Model X12 board will technically take 2S, I might actually keep these now. Hurry up if you want to get them. Snag them before I change my mind. And also there's a set of Beta FPV 0803s, which are 19,500 kV. So there's some stuff. These are Insta360 Go 2 TPU mounts for the Acro Bee, for the Goober canopy. If you're building a tiny lifter, I got you covered on TPU. This is a whole big bag of T-Motor F40 Pro 2 stators in a bunch of different KVs. Again, price of shipping, basically. And then this is three of the low-profile Cinesplore ducts that you can 3D print from Thingiverse. So if you have a 3D printer, you can just make some extras. These have the brass fittings pressed into them, so it'll save you a little bit of time. And then this is 3 of the new FPV Cycle V4 ducts. They've got a crazy, look at that crazy angle of attack on them. So yeah, if you have the new FPV Cycle V4 ducts, I'll send you 3 extras, which you'll probably need because they're very fragile, which is why I'm not buying another set. They're very, very fragile. But if you don't crash, you'll be good to go. That's some of the stuff that I've got that I want out of here as soon as possible, that I will let go for very, very cheap. So hit me up if you need anything. Cool? Let's work on the Glide. Hey, oh, and the sticker packs. Hey, somebody that messaged me on PayPal about the sticker packs, I got back to you. So get back to me if you don't mind, if you haven't already. Maybe I already have. No, I don't think you really have. All right. Sticker pack. Hey, so it's your choice. It's either a static cling that'll go on the inside or the outside of a window, pretty slick, or a regular old sticker. And then also in the sticker pack, ooh, that noise was horrifying, is my logo. One of them's a magnet, one of them's a sticker. So this is the sticker pack. It's $10. Get it while it's hot. PayPal me $10 with your address and let me know if you want the static cling or the sticker for the Micro King. Yeah, $10 for a sticker pack. I've got them ready to go. They'll go out right away. And you'll have stickers and you'll be way cooler than all your friends because they don't have any fucking CiottiFPV stickers, do they? They do? Oh, you got cool friends. No, they don't. Nobody likes me. Jackalope says, I'm interested in the GoPro 8 mount for the Glide frame. So, here's the deal, Jackalope. You have to have the new top plate on the Glide frame. Only the newer top plates on the Glide frame have the mount pattern that the Cinesplore also uses. Let me show you. So this is the new Glide top plate. See that extra set of holes? This is the extra set of holes. The old Glide top plates did not have these holes in them. They just had this set of holes and this set of holes up here. So make sure that you have a new school Glide top plate, or else this guy won't work. See the pattern is made for those. The regular like if you just buy a Glide, just a Glide TPU mount, it will usually be the screw holes will be spaced out farther for the front and first standoff holes. So just make sure, and then if you're sure that this is going to work, message me anywhere. Go to CiottiFPV.com. All my contact info is there. Message me somewhere. Tell me you want it, and it's all yours, my friend. Eva FPV is going to take the Johnny FPV shirt. Very cool. I will set it aside for you. When are we hanging out? Come hang out, and I'll give you the shirt. It's absolutely insane to ship it, and yeah, Maggie and I want to hang out with you again. Jackalope, I got you. A Cable wants the motors. Very cool. Message me somewhere, and they're yours for cheap. 661 says, only the newer V2 version of the X12 board takes 2S. Check before you plug in. Screw it. I'm just not going to run 2S on it. I was very suspect of putting 2S through a Happy Model board anyway. So, yeah, these are for sale. I don't want these. They're 300 and 350 mAh 2S batteries. If you want them, they're yours. I'm going to run slightly bigger batteries on the toothpicks. Because the toothpicks that I'm going to build are going to be Vista picks, so they're going to have to pick up a little bit more weight than I think a little tiny 2S. Yeah, I need like a 400 or a 450 2S to pick up that fat ass naked Vista. Brandon's Baked Bean, good call 661. Thanks for that warning. Brandon's Baked Bean says, I ordered some 25,000 EX0802s from Nevin today. Very cool. Also got some antennas, solder, flux, cyclones, flash sale. But I'm most excited for those motors. You're going to love those motors. They're just don't be brutal on them because they are a little fragile. A Cable says, I want the 0803 Betaflight motors. They're all yours, brother. Message me. Unless somebody else already said that they wanted them. Nope, it was you. Eva says, what are you doing this week? Nothing. Free, what's today, Monday? Free all day tomorrow. Message me. We'll pick a day. All right, good to go. Time to get a glide back up in the air. Because I do want to start flying freestyle a little bit more often. I'm sick of not flying freestyle well and then like kind of hiding behind, oh, well, I just don't fly freestyle. I enjoy flying freestyle. I need to make the time for it. And yeah, not the whole point, but a big part of the point of deciding to go full time with this thing was so that I could like have more time in my day for FPV stuff. And if I'm not gonna make, and so like right now I'm not. There was a time when when I stopped flying freestyle, it's because I was getting booked on so many cinematic gigs that I literally didn't have time. That has really slowed down quite a bit. I'm not getting many gigs. So while that has had, like, this is my chance to fly more freestyle and get a little bit better to try to catch up with the thousands of people that are now much, much, much better pilots than I am. So, yeah, I'm going to make a conscious effort to try to fly some more freestyle, which I know you guys will love. Although I'm sure the next question will be, oh, great, so then you're going to put out more edits? And the answer to that is no. You get to watch my flying on the beginning and the end of the live streams. I just can't justify the amount of time that it takes me to do an edit. And it's yeah, there's just so little return on investment to that. I will be doing a reel. It's absolutely ridiculous that I don't have one already, but yeah, you will see a reel for me at some point with a bunch of my cinematic stuff all chopped together. But yeah, freestyle edits are just, it's not a good way to make any money. It's for me at least, it's been impossible to, God damn it, I forgot to put the middle standoffs on. It's been pretty impossible for me to make any money based on freestyle edits. Yes, it is marketing, but it is marketing towards the FPV community specifically. And the marketing that I want to do is towards filmmakers. So that's, thus the reel, thus me doing a reel. And in addition to that, I need to be doing, so I do very quick little dumps on Instagram, just grab footage, put it into an Instagram reel, not a show reel. Thus far I've been talking about a show reel. Yeah, and that's basically just to show up on people's Instagram feeds as often as possible. And that I do put some freestyle stuff up there. So if you want to see more of my flying, Instagram is one of the best ways to do that. Because, yeah, that's sort of where I do the marketing. And hey, there you go. There's a little window into what has worked for me so far. Although it's not working great lately, but hopefully it'll pick back up. I'll let you know. You'll know first because you're hanging out here, and this is where I talk about that shit all the time. So stay tuned. A Cable says, I will PayPal and message you Friday for motors. Thanks, bro. Awesome. You are certainly welcome. 661 is thinking about 1404 3800 kV. I don't know what rig that's for, but Kinetic FPV says, right under the screws that mount my VTX, the carbon is almost falling out. Just needs a little scrappy. I smelled something funky when flying, so I'm worried that for some reason the carbon is burning. That's scary. Kinetic, it sounds an awful lot like you've got something putting voltage and ground into the frame. When you say it looks like the carbon is almost falling out, does it look like it's melting? Because that's what happens when you've got voltage and ground going through a set of screws that are in your that are in a carbon fiber frame. I'm trying to think if I've done it a bunch of times, and I'm trying to think if I have like a broken base plate around where that has happened to be able to show you what it looks like. Oh, 661 says he found the motor screws are grounding. Okay, awesome. Kinetic says, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, you gotta fix the motor screws first. If it continues though, yeah, you gotta, and you can. A bunch of people have suggested it already, but you can check a bunch of this with a multimeter to check for continuity between the mounting holes on the VTX. I'll say this though: if the Avata VTX is passing voltage and ground through the mount holes, I'm going to hunt them down and just cut their heads off with a very dull knife. And we should all do the same, because that is absolutely unforgivable if they're doing that. Completely unforgivable. Kiz Bartlett says, I've buzzed you over $10 for the sticker pack. Did see your email just before the stream, so I'll get back to you tonight or tomorrow. Kiz, was it you that I messaged asking if you wanted the window cling or the sticker? If so, that's amazing. I have such a hard time keeping everybody straight. I feel bad, but yeah, I mean, it's just I get too many messages to keep everybody straight. Oh, Avatar. Oh wow, I am just now realizing what a bunch of assholes. I didn't even put the two and two together that Fat Shark calls their goggles, right, Avatar, and then yeah, the new DJI drone is obviously called the Avata. Wow, what a bunch of dumbasses. That is going to confuse the shit out of people. I've already begun getting people messaging me, what do you think of the Avata? What do you think of the Avata? How does it compare? I got a message today. How does it compare to your builds? I'm already annoyed. But I mean, it's a good question, and I, I am the drone guy to a lot of people here in Atlanta, so kind of expected. But I don't know, man. I am scared shitless about the Avata. I think that we are going to see a lot of wedding fail videos in very short order of people getting hit and their hair ripped out by the Avata. I'm really freaked out by it. Apparently, the only way it's got like some automatic disarm feature that like really blips the motors hard right before it disarms. And yeah, what a fucking nightmare. So I'm very impressed with it as a piece of tech. And fair warning, I am totally biased. Like I'm also very scared that it's going to take work away from those of us that are that have been flying for a long time and have, like, you know, done the work to learn how to build proper Cinesplores and fly them safely. So yeah, I'm very biased. Fair warning. But I'm also legitimately scared. Like, it's like people can't handle Mavics. So now we're gonna put an FPV drone in their hands that they can very easily like fly very close to people because, oh look, it's got guards around the propellers. It'll be totally fine. Oh yeah, look, those guards are only a quarter of an inch tall, and it will so easily pinch and or cut the shit out of somebody, or at the very least get all fucking tangled up in their hair. The hair thing is really going to be the nightmare, I think, with the Avata. Because, yeah, oh, look, I'm safe to fly this around people. It's got the guards on it. Oh, look, I flew it over this girl's hair, and it sucked it up and just absolutely scalped the shit out of her, right? Like, that's... I'm calling it right now, man. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a fucking nightmare, and it's going to give a huge black eye to FPV. And, yeah, I'm not thrilled about that. But hopefully not. Hopefully... all of these fears are unfounded, but they're not, and it's gonna. I've already, you know, I've talked about it a bunch of times on here. Like, I've already run into situations where people find out, like, oh, you, like, I've been on set, and the musician or an actor or whatever has had a bad experience with drones, and they're like, nope, don't want it, don't need it, can't have that, go away. And, like, on one hand, it's like, well, I'm getting paid anyway, so, like, what do I care? But, like, it's not about the money for me. It's about making cool shit. So, yeah, FPV getting a black eye is really frustrating to me. And I really, like, I feel like this is the perfect scenario for FPV to get a huge black eye. And, yeah, that'll affect all of us that are trying to do this for a living. So... But all the while, I'm so impressed with it as a piece of tech, and I think that, like, man, it's going to create some amazing footage from people who travel the world and travel to really cool places. So from that side, it's kind of exciting, but every other part of it sucks the big one. And is gonna and yeah, I'm just freaked out. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I hope it's not the thing that sort of puts the nail in the coffin of FPV, right? Because if all of a sudden there's if you know, major news channels start covering all these weddings with Avatas getting stuck in bride's hair. The FAA is going to see that and be like, you know, they're liable to be like, all right, nope, fuck it, no FPV allowed, no, sub 250, don't care. And it's not a sub 250 drone, but it could leave a huge black eye on the whole prop guard thing, right? Because they're not. Yeah, I mean, it's asking way too much to expect the FAA to have, like, to include in the rules, like, you know, prop guards are not these bullshit, like, prop ducts are different than prop guards, right? It's way too much to ask for that. It's just realistically never going to happen. Although, I mean, I guess it would be easy. You know, prop guards have to be at least 1 inch in height. Done. I guess that's really all they would need to put in there. But they're not going to do that, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. I'm freaked out, but ain't a goddamn thing I can do about it, right? And, like, we're not going to quit. Like, it's like, if anything, we just need to really fly like crazy now while we still can, right? If a big ban comes and the Avata is what ruined it all, at least we can then be like, well, we flew as much as we possibly could while it was still around. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. But you know, I had a lot of these same fears with the DJI FPV drone, whatever the hell they call it, and we've been okay with that. Maybe, I don't know. I guess you could maybe argue that since then the FAA has been a little bit more. But you know what we haven't seen is a ton of videos with DJI FPV drone fails. At least I haven't. I mean, I don't go looking for those kind of videos, but. It hasn't been on every major news channel, right? Like, killer DJI FPV drone kills 18 people. But you know, with the DJI FPV drone, it's kind of obvious that you don't want it to, you don't want to fly near people with it, right? Like it's a big scary thing. The Avata is not a big scary thing, so I think the problem is that people are going to start flying it closer to other people, and that's not good. So I don't know, maybe remote ID will come along just in time for DJI to not, it won't, but for DJI to not be able to sell them in this country, and maybe we'll be okay. Or hell, for all I know, maybe maybe remote ID getting pushed through like this was a result of the Avata coming, right? Maybe FAA saw that and had all these same thoughts and were like, no, we got to put this into high gear and get this through. So I don't know. And I haven't flown one of the Avatas. I'm just going off of the litany of reviews that I've seen on YouTube. So I don't know. I could totally be wrong. Kiz Bartlett says, nope, I was the one who won the giveaway. Also inquired about the sticker packs. Okay, gotcha, Kiz. Kevin Sumner says, renaming, that's on top of the stupid FPV goggles. Oh, God, yeah, right? FPV goggles V2 versus goggles 2 garbage. Yeah, like, the naming conventions, like, what the hell? What are you doing? What are you doing? Frank Nicholas says, please don't spread FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, doubt, about the Avata. Strong motor blip before disarm. I own one, and that's not accurate. Okay, there you go. So the reviewers that I've seen that have talked about that, they must be doing something wrong. That's really good to hear that that's not accurate, because that's something that, when it happened in the review I saw last night, it looked really freaky. But yeah, maybe that guy doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't have something set properly. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that. But it still makes me very scared, and I think I think that my opinion is valid. You know, Frank, you're allowed to have your own opinion. I don't think that I'm not going to stop talking about it. I think that I'm correct. So, but yeah, like I said, you're more than willing to think that I'm wrong. That's fair. Because Bartlett says, it wouldn't be FPV if there wasn't some stupid controversial decisions made by companies. So true. Jackalope says, sent you a PayPal. Thank you, homie. 661 says, the Avata looks really good for what it is. The motion controller is what I'm scared to see new people using. Seems unsafe. Yeah, I don't know. The motion controller seems super fascinating. I love that it goes into like stop mode, like a lot. That's a good thing. Frank Nicholas says, again, the Avata is going to kill FPV. It might. I certainly hope that it doesn't. But yeah, it's got me a little freaked out. Kevin Sumner says, my suspicion is that camera drones doing stuff like landing in wildlife preserves and snooping around military is why we're seeing interest in things like remote ID. Yeah, very true. There's all kinds of awful stuff that you can do with quads, unfortunately. It's a little scary. Frank Nicholas says, and now you're blaming remote ID on the Avata, or remote ID blocking the Avata. I'm not blaming anything on anything. I'm just having a conversation, Frank. Chill out, brother. Chill out. It's all good. We're just having a conversation. This is, this live stream will get watched by a couple hundred people, and yeah, like, it's all good. Comments about the Avata statement are fact and experience, not opinion. I love that. I love that you're educating me on it, because yeah, like I said a minute ago, I'm only basing it on the reviews that I've seen on YouTube. So it's good to have an actual person that has it, that's willing to spend the time to educate me on it. I appreciate that. Jackalope says the PayPal is for the stickers. Very cool. Jackalope, did you put in there if you want the static cling or the sticker and your address, hopefully? All right, let's get this on here, and we will start mounting the electronics. I think I have everything. Yeah, I have everything on here. We good. All right. So we're just going to sneak this under the arms. And hold on. How the hell did I have the DJI run? I think it was under there. And I think it was under here. Now let's put it on this side. All right. Okay, so that block of wires has to go under there. Okay, so I think I'm somewhat good here. Tuck these arms under. And then, all right, so the first thing I need to do is, well, let's go back to front. So I can mount the Vista first here. And then we will make sure that its bunch of wires are moving forward under the ESC how I want them to. Okay, hold on. There we go. There we go. All right, cool. So that's good to go. And so there's the MIPI cable in the middle. That's looking good. This is the crossfire cable. That's looking good too. I think I'm actually cool to drop the ESC down. That looks pretty good. Yeah, there we go. And then I think this MIPI cable is coming up and over because it's going to that. Yeah, that looks right. So those cables look like they're in the inside of the mounting holes. That all looks really good. This is looking good here too. Nothing feels like it's bound up. There is a little bit of weirdness with this. What's happening here? Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's why, yeah, that's why that was moving around. All right, so that's looking good there. This is lined up properly. That guy is sat all the way down. I think we're pretty much in business here. Let's start getting some of these nuts back on here. And Jackalope says, "What are my options?" Yes, I did put address. So it's either the static cling. It's either the big static cling that you can static cling to the inside or the outside of a window, or the round regular old sticker. Either or. Yeah. All right, cool. If you have PayPal'd me for a sticker pack in the last like 4 days, do me a favor, check PayPal. I think you've got a message waiting for you. Jackalope says round sticker, please. Let me do this. So that's the regular sticker pack. Jackalope, I'm going to write your name on the inside. And that has the round sticker already in it. All right, so we're good to go. Thank you, homie. Thank you for the support. Put this right here. Can't forget it if it's right there. It's 11:52, but it looks like we made some actual progress on this rig. You know what I mean? The base plate's in there. We got a nut on. We can do another nut here. Look at us go. Look at the progress. Good Lord. Much progress. Very wow. All right, so this crossfire cable is going to be a fucking pain in the ass now, isn't it? So this I hate having this Crossfire Nano mounted to the ESC, but man, there just is not another really good place for it. other than like under the ESC, but then it's a super pain in the ass if I ever need to get to the bind button. So yeah, I mein it's actually kind of fine here realistically, but I don't know, I've got mental issues, you guys know that. So it's like it's not in a satisfying enough spot for my broken ass chemically imbalanced brain. So yeah, I don't know, you can absolutely mount it there, it'll work completely fine. It's not a very satisfying mounting spot, but if you're trying to build an incredibly slammed glide with a Vista in it, that's really the only spot for it, so you're kind of in it, whether you like it or not. I would like to do this, though. These 16mm standoffs, they're pretty thick. I want to make sure, and this rig is like kind of heavy, so I want to really quickly weigh a couple of these compared to standard, regular old aluminum round knurled 20mm standoffs, just to kind of make sure that I don't have a whole bunch of extra weight on this rig because of standoffs. So this is a 20, this is another 20. So we're coming in at so they're basically a gram each, 2.1 grams for two of them. And then if we weigh two of the aluminum 20s, well, they are heavier. 1.6, so 0.8. So 0.8 grams. So for the 20s, it looks like 0.8 grams each. For these 16s, it's looking like they're 1 gram each, like 1.05 grams each. I don't love that. Let's try the regular knurled ones. I don't love that, but that's not enough weight to... oh wow, the regular knurled ones are very light. 1.3. So 0.6. Oh man. Yeah. Fuck it, I don't care. For once, I'm going to say F it. I don't care about the extra weight. You guys proud of me? Or are you disappointed? Could go either way. Yeah, I mean, the rig is already completely set up for him, and it's kind of a... I don't know. In theory, dropping the battery 4mm tightens up the center of gravity enough to maybe offset the extra weight. Maybe. And according to all the people that fly fat-ass rigs, fat rigs fly better than light rigs. I just think that those people don't want to go through the hassle of lightening their rigs up. Pretty sure that's what it is, actually, to be honest. But, I don't know. The whole fat rigs fly better thing, I mean, if you really think that, you can build a lighter rig and then put a bigger battery on it, and then you'll get more runtime too. But you know, that's just too innovative for some people, I think. I don't know. The whole fat quad thing is it's just a lot of people that have lost sight of the fact that we're flying, and in aeronautics, lightweight is everything. So yeah, I don't know. It confuses me quite a bit. But again, what do I know? I'm not nearly as good of a pilot as many of those people, so my opinion doesn't matter. Okay. Let me try to flip this thing over and get the... well, so one thing I'm running into right now is that the Vista does not want to sit all the way down, which could just be it hanging up on the threads, which is exactly what it was. It was just hung up on the threads. I was about to say it could also be the wires getting all bunched up underneath it, but yeah, that's not what it was. So for right now, what I want to do is that I hate having the arms all floppy. I want to get the little X plate on the bottom and get the arms bolted down a little bit. And this is actually kind of difficult. It's difficult to get everything like kind of cleanly. You'll see. So what I like to do is put the outer, I just lost my fill light. I like to put the outer screws here on and not the inners. These are the ones that jack into the press nuts in the base plate, which is really nice. So if you feed these through, now you've got screws that you can line up in the arms, and then that'll hold the arms somewhat in like their right place, and then you can usually slot it into the base plate. So let's see how well that's going to work here. Sometimes this is an absolute nightmare. And it's why, yeah, see, so here's a part of the problem. This thing swung out of the way, and now it won't. So now I got to pull this back out, get this rotated back where it needs to be. This is actually going pretty well so far. All right, so we've got the arms on. Now the problem is getting it down onto the base plate. But at this point, I like to turn it back upside down, or back right side up, I should say. And now we can kind of start moving it around a little bit here. And just be careful, like at this point, you got to be really careful because like there's wires floating around and see, fucking, god damn it. These arms popped, oh, there it goes, there they go. Okay, so you also want to be really careful at this point of the motor wires getting in between the base plate and the arms. I have cranked these screws down out of frustration before and pinched a motor wire. If you can get this close enough, you can just hop onto one of these and see if you can start to get it threaded, and that one did. And just get them threaded a little bit. Just try to get each one of them started into the press nuts in the base plate, and yeah, that'll make your life a lot easier. I think I feel that one threading in there a little bit, and I can see this one threading in. So now, yep, they've begun to thread in. So now we can, all right, here, I'm gonna put a screw under this camera. I hate when the camera flops around. I feel like that MIPI cable is gonna rip right out of it. So let me just real quick half screw one of these bottom pieces. Abraham with a 199 super chat. He says, texting you a nudge from last week. Cling, please. Aber, I have a feeling that I shipped it out already. I hope I did. I hope I did. If I need to reply back, what I was doing is I would get the PayPal email, and then I wouldn't read the PayPal email until I was ready to write the address down and put the stamp on the envelope. And then as soon as I was done putting the stamp on the envelope and sealing it up, I would delete the PayPal email. And I think I was caught up as of a few days ago. So if you PayPal'd me more than a couple days ago, it should already be on its way. It's not going to have tracking because it's just I'm just putting stamps on envelopes. So, yeah. But I am behind on my emails. I am at least a couple of days behind on my emails. So at this point, you just want to check and make sure that there's no wires pinched in between the arms and the little sandwich plate on the bottom. What do you guys call this bottom plate? Do you call it the X plate? It's not the bottom plate. This is the bottom plate, in my opinion. I call this the sandwich plate, or I've also heard it called the X plate. It's not always in the shape of an X, though. Sometimes it's the shape of an H, which I think might confuse some people. But, I mean, there's no other piece on the quad that you would call an X plate. You know what I mean? So I think calling it an X plate is actually a pretty good idea. And I did NioGel, if you guys missed it, I did NioGel the bottom of this base plate. It might have happened off camera. But yeah, I do believe in the NioGel. I have literally seen it take a rig that was like on the edge with the tune and pull it back a little bit, and it was flyable. So I know it does do something. And it's not that messy. Like, sure, it's a little messy, but I mean, it's no worse than the 15th time you've dumped a rig into the grass and you bring it home and it's just fucking covered in mud and grass and dirt and grime and horribleness. So there we go. I'm not going to crank these all the way down because I still got to get these other guys through. But now the arms are in and somewhat secure. So now we can do like a little bit of a manual lineup of the arms and keep on going. So we got the ESC secured down. That's good to go. Let's throw a couple of these nuts onto the Vista to get it secured down. And I'm just using these little 1mm thick silver guys that I have no idea where I got from. But they were in the stash. And when I say the stash, who knows what I'm referencing? What car guy knows what I'm referencing? All right, so those guys are on there. We're gonna no, hold on. Before I crank those down, let me make sure. Let me take a look at the wiring to make sure it's not going to get pinched. So I used to have this wired up like beautifully, but now I've kind of given up on that. So I just want to make sure that they're not. I think that there's plenty of clearance, but yeah, there's tons of clearance. So. Actually, the wiring didn't get that bad. Black, red, yellow, green. Yeah, that looks fine. And it looks fine in the rear as well. I just want to make sure that like the wires aren't like bunching up. If the wires like stack up on top of each other, they can become like too thick, and then that can cause some issues. Black, red. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just getting these wires kind of organized and making sure that they're not crossing over one another in a place that they shouldn't be before I go cranking this Vista down. I think the Vista is sitting down as far as it's going to go, though, so I don't think I really need to worry too much about this, but I would rather not find out the hard way. Yeah, they're laying down there flat. So now we can just crank a couple of these nuts down. And our Vista is secure. And it looks like I put some Loctite on these nuts the last time. And another way to check whether or not you've pinched any of these wires is to just kind of like pull on them a little bit. Like if they're pinched, they won't move around like that. See how it's moving in the back and on the front? So if you just grab each wire and just give it a little tiny tug, if it's pinched, it will be like bound up. And these do not appear to be pinched at all. So that's good. All right. We are doing well. So I'm going to have to send another zip tie, of which I don't think I have, through this hole. I only have 3 of these on because I use this 4th hole to hold this capacitor with a zip tie, and I have to find somewhere in this house another one of these skinny ass zip ties. But it is now officially after 12 o'clock, so I think I might actually shut this motherfucker down. That's pretty close to being done. 4 nuts on the flight controller, bunch of these screws. Drop these inner screws in with these extra 4 standoffs, and the Rossi will be back up in the air. Shit though. I do also need to replace this antenna. So let me just really quickly do this. And I forgot to read the comments from our Sunday stream at the beginning of this one, so we'll do that on Wednesday. All right, so if you're watching this on repeat, feel free to leave a comment and you'll be a part of the live stream on Wednesday. All right, and I am gonna have to pop this up because this has to be loose enough to then loosen that. And yeah, to get this little latch opened to remove the antenna. But yeah, once that's out of there, we got this, and then we can just pop this antenna up and off and replace it. And I think I should have another one of these blue antennas. It being blue is very important because, you know, the expanse and the motors that burn blue, right? The Epstein drive. Frank Nicholas says the camera looks crooked on that quad. Yeah, it's only secured with one screw at the moment. I just wanted it to stop flopping around to not kill the Mippy. Let me get caught up in chat, and I'm going to shut this mother down. Just pretend like I finished, friends. Jackalope says, round sticker, please. Good to go. Abraham says, definitely possible you shipped. I'll wait a while and let you know if nothing comes, or I'll forget, and it's whatever. Thanks again, man. EvaFPV says, braceplate. Could be called a braceplate. That's a totally fair name for it. Swagwish plate, Abraham says. Brandon's Big Bean says, I will always call the bottom plate and the mid plate. I will always call the bottom plate the mid plate when there is a lower sandwich plate. Fair enough. Fair enough. If you said to me, though, that your mid plate broke, I wouldn't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, all the battery powered LED shit shut off. My God, I need more. I need to order bigger power strips with more plugs on them. I am completely out of plugs here. Frank Nicholas with the last comment of the live stream. He says that, oh, we got that. Camera looks crooked on the quad. Thanks for hanging out, friends. This has been your, I don't know. Thanks for hanging. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Whoop Wednesday, maybe at 5 o'clock this week. I'm going to try to do it at 5 o'clock. We'll see. We'll see how my Wednesday morning goes. Love you guys. Be good. Here comes some more random flying with the lovely Epidemic sounds on top. Here's something. Salt Lake City Criterium. Ooh. Here's a little fly through at the bicycle race that I did with the little Cinesplores. No, that's only 200. Oh, this is goggle DVR. Here's some goggle DVR. What do you think of that? Oh, that's like 3 seconds long. Yeah, here's some goggle DVR from the Salt Lake City Crit that they flew me out to cover live. MP4? What's that? I guess the rest of this footage is on the laptop. You guys aren't gonna want to watch this. Maybe you will. What am I doing on here? Riding with riders? This is kind of when I was just testing, and I was having all the, yeah, this is not fun to watch. Hold on. I'll find something good for you guys to watch. Give me a second. Here we go, from the Flow Cube spot. This is a great spot. This is a really cool little, like, nothing spot that is actually really, really fun to fly. Here you guys go. Is this the Cinesplore again? We don't want. Well, we've been talking about the Cinesplore the whole damn time. Yeah, fuck that though. Nobody wants to watch Cinewhoop footage that doesn't have a good subject. Here we go. We're gonna do this, and you're gonna get some epidemic sounds. And I love you lots. Be good, friends. Here's some shredding. Ah! Ripping balls. Ah! Fly it safely absolutely anywhere. Like I can. Bye.